This is Musa, Matt Meacham Jr., signing in on Earth. I want to spend this discussion, use the time in in this discussion. I just want to talk about God. If you have been following me since I've been doing these sets on YouTube, you know, you would notice that I have a concern. If you if you examine my previous videos, I have a concern about this concept of God, the Almighty, and so I like to explore issues that deal with that concept. Okay, for instance, I'm sure some of you have probably heard this before, but I want to use this as to be the kickstart for me to go into my discussion. God is all powerful. Okay. God is all powerful. Okay. Can God create a stone that is so heavy that he cannot lift? And immediately my answer is yes. My answer is yes. You see, God can do anything. And the thing is, we have to understand that all of us, everything is a result of God. And it's things, mankind as we exist in this human body will never understand or comprehend what is, who is, where is, when is God. We're like a dot. Or you take a brush, take the brush of the artist and just dip it into the paint. And okay, that artist, he dips that brush into the paint and he goes to the canvas and he puts a dot there. Now remember, who's controlling the pen? Okay, there is a result in the action of putting a brush in the paint and then going to the canvas and placing a dot. Excuse me, and placing a dot on the canvas. If we look at the total creation, we, the human entity, we are we are less insignificant. We are less significant as the dot. In other words, we see the dot, but our existence is less significant than the dot. Okay, with the way things are going in the world today, it forces one to either introspect or retrospect. It, it makes it makes us okay. Me personally, it makes me want to study. And the thing is, the type of sociological things that I'm witnessing, the things that are actually happening in the world today, it makes me go back and I begin to think about the personality. I have to do this. the person I think about the personality of Adolf Hitler. That was a famous man, Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was a failed artist. Adolf Hitler, all Adolf Hitler wanted to be was to be an artist. He just wanted to be an artist. I mean, an innocent request. But he tried to get into some of the best art schools at that time in Germany. And the art schools rejected him, Adolf Hitler. They said, you're not an artist. You are not an artist. I mean, that is what Adolf Hitler wanted to be. That was his ambition, to be an artist. I think that when we consider what he did, I think the whole world would agree with me. They should have allowed him to go to art school. They should have allowed him to become an artist. And perhaps if he had become an artist like he wanted to be, that's all he wanted to be. All Adolf Hitler wanted to be was an artist. But he became the most, he did the most terrible things that any man in the 20th century. Was it the 20th century or was it the 19th century? Well, this is 22. I guess it was the 21st century. When if this is 2022, 2020, what is this? Is this 2022 or 2024? But and there's another thing that I found quite interesting. There was a guy called Albert Einstein. Now, Albert Einstein and Adolf Hitler were contemporaries. I think one was a little bit older than the other, but both of these were German prodigies. German. German. Is that significant? I have to do more research. Maybe I can find the connection between um, Adolf Hitler and Albert Einstein. I indulge in linguistics. Albert started with the alphabet A, and Adolf started with the alphabet A. Adolf Hitler, Albert Einstein. It's quite interesting. It is quite interesting. Okay, Albert Einstein was a gentleman. He loved women. I have no problem with that. He loved women, but he was a gentleman. He was a gentleman. What happened? I think that when they were installing Israel, I think that those guys who said, let's go to Palestine and create Israel, I think they offered Albert Einstein the position. They said, Albert, Mr. Einstein, why don't you be the leader of Israel? We're going to go down there in Palestine and we're going to get some land down there and we're going to create Israel. And they went to Albert Einstein and they said, Albert, we need a man like you to take over our Israel. Albert Einstein said, no, He said, no, not me. He was a genius. Indeed, Albert Einstein was a genius. I guess he saw what these guys were doing. And he said, no, I don't want to be a part of that. But the irony, look at this. Look at this. When they suggested to Albert Einstein that he should be the ruler of Israel, a creation of the Zionists, a creation of the Zionists, the fake Jews. Albert Einstein was a Jew, one who a human being who associated with the Jewish religion. You know, many people don't realize that Judaism is just a religion, just like Christianity, like Islam. But what happened was Hitler, he made it a racial thing, and people believed him. But wait, let's get back to Einstein. Einstein said, no, I don't want to be the president. I don't want to be the prime minister of this fake nation that you are trying to create. And he made a good decision. But wait. The mind of Einstein was the mind that led to the nuclear age, to the atomic bomb. And that same atomic bomb was devastating when those bombs were dropped on Japan to end World War II. But it had something to do with a seed that was planted by the gentleman, Mr. Albert Einstein. It's interesting. It's very interesting how Albert Einstein it started in his mind that led to the atomic age. Now, he and Hitler were contemporaries. I think one was just a few years older than the other, but both of them were German. And I'm trying to figure out. I think there was. I may be wrong, but I think there's the psychiatrist. Was it Freud, Freud, Freud. I think he was German. I think he's a Jew. I'm finding these things quite interesting. But I'm saying, why did all of this stuff originate? All this heavy stuff. Albert Einstein, Adolf Hitler, Freud. Why did it happen in Germany? What was going on in Germany for these things that happen? These profound individuals to evolve out of that culture. I think as far as World War II is concerned, see what happened is Germany was in World War One and they lost World War One. And I think what happened was I think I think the Germans blame the Jews for their being defeated in World War One. And I think that may have had something to do with how Hitler was able to bring these German people together and they would all go at the Jews. That's a hypothesis. That's my hypothesis. I try to figure out why do these things happen? What was how could you get a population of people and they would descend on a whole population of people, I mean millions of people, and they would do the things that they did to those people who were called Jews. Well, okay. You had similar type of things that happened to the Africans in America. when the white supremacists in different periods in American history, where they did terrible things to black African people. Like I think it was there were there was a city uh, in the South. Oh boy, this is terrible. The city that was they called it the Black Wall Street, and you had blacks who had, I mean, they were doing well. They actually commit uh, uh, they had actually created a black like middle class city, Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was Tulsa, Oklahoma, where blacks had what they call the Black Wall Street. And what happened was these blacks were doing so well that the white supremacists, these were American blacks, right? In a two in Tulsa, Oklahoma, white supremacists in the United States. They bombed with planes. They used planes. They bombed an African township, a black African township in America. So I guess it's some kind of bug. It's some kind of bug that I guess that affects the human being, that makes the human being do these terrible things to other human beings. I know in Tanzania, in East Africa, when a black man and a black woman conceive a white child, and in certain communities in Tanzania, these albino or these white children that are being produced by these black parents, in some instances, these white children are kidnapped, and they cut these white children up and they use them for ceremonies. Uh, okay, in other words, we know that we can take a black woman and a black man and they can procreate and they can create a white child, and then we call that white child albino. But in certain areas in Tanzania, East Africa, what these Africans do when they see these white children being produced by black parents, they take these white children and they sacrifice them. They cut them up. So they do terrible things to these white children. Black people do terrible things to their own white children. So we live in a complicated world. It's very complicated. It's very complicated. This is Musa, Matt Mitchum Jr., signing off on Earth.